No, 4 is good.
Oh, 4, not,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And he might not be here.
He might
He
not.
indicated that.
Okay.
Okay, this is the regular monthly Woodbridge Board of Finance meeting for Thursday, April 18th, 2013. And the first item on our agenda is public comments. Seeing no one in the audience, we can move on to item 2, which is Director of Finance and Operations report. Tony.
Okay. The report for the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year is resulting of a 11.29% of our fund balance surplus, of budgetary surplus, that is, of about $226,000. Some highlights, intergovernmental revenue highlights of $60,000 surplus there for some revenue sharing monies. The department revenues are about on budget. Some budgets are coming in with surpluses like building permits, transfer station fees, and town clerk fees, that sort of thing. And then we have a projected shortfall in golf revenues. At this point, it's about $75,000. As we go on through the year, we'll obviously, the last 2 months, each month we get that figure. We have a surplus in the AMNI budget, as we discussed, and waste and expenses. There's a surplus in waste management of about $40,000. Got some reduced tonnage in that department. Concerning FEMA, we have received notification of our FEMA awards for Sandy, Hurricane Sandy.
Thank you.
And that's $309,632 is what we've been approved for. This is 75% of our reported exposure. And of that amount, $217,000 is for public works debris cleanup, $70,000 is for public safety, and $23,000 is for volunteer services, which is mostly the fire department, but also some volunteer services at the shelter. So that is the funding we'll get there. You'll see a transfer later from that, which is going to combine the 2 storms. We've also been notified that we've been that the county's been awarded a 75% reimbursement for all eligible expenses for a 72-hour period of the storm Nemo. And also, it was originally 48 hours, and it was originally just snow removal expenses. It is now snow removal and public safety, which is important because we had overtime in the police department here. And it's also 72 hours as opposed to 48, which will capture a lot more of our expenditures for this storm.
It's the highest amount of expenses in the 72 hours.
Right, we get to pick the 72 hours of our choice. So we'll pick that 70. We're analyzing each day and how much it cost, and then going from there. So that's where we are. So we'll be able to cover all of our expenses, as you'll see later on with that.
And do you anticipate that this will come in before the end of the year?
The Sandy revenues will definitely come in. Those will probably come in a month or so. The storm Nemo, as long as we have an identified information, we would book that on our books as a receivable from the state, and then we would have to charge it to this year anyway, because that's revenue. It's when the expenses were. Right.
Okay.
So as long as it's identifiable,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Tony? Woodbridge Board of Ed report we have here. It looks like they've spent some of this money, which we told them to, and so they're still tracking 76. I'm sure you'll have more on this. Ian?
Yeah, I'll provide a little more detail.
Okay. A reminder that Monday is the preliminary budget hearing, 7:30 in the Center Gym. And immediately following the budget hearing, we're going to meet to discuss what occurred.
Right.
So hopefully we'll see you there Monday night.
And that's scheduled as a regular meeting, right? The one after.
Yes.
Yep. So we have that as a regular meeting. So.
Anything else?
Yes. Oh no, it's down later. 2014 budget. I'll get into it at that point.
Okay. All right, then we have funding requests. Got a mostly line item transfers.
Right.
The first is a line item transfer 1213-19 for $2,000 within the police department to cover repair and maintenance of police fleet vehicles. I move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-19 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next is a line item transfer, building maintenance. Line item transfer 1213-20 in the amount of $3,212 for roof repairs or transmission repair. It's going from roof
Right.
to.
There's repaired, the funds in the roof account were the remaining funds from the project.
And so there was some transmission work that needed to be done for the
Correct.
building maintenance vehicle.
Right.
I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-20 in the amount of $3212.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is a transfer for the purchase of organic fertilizer, organic weed control, and marking paint for the ball fields in Woodbridge. And it's coming from the Fitzgerald track improvements to the maintenance and supplies within the Parks Department. So I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-21 in the amount of $7,200.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
What is not getting done that we had planned?
We had originally planned to do a relocation of the trail in the budget, but it
Okay.
proved to be very expensive and very complicated,
Okay.
much more so than it was anticipated. So the project was, we didn't go forward with it,
Okay,
and so that's where the funds are from.
fine. Okay, thank you.
Is that just nixed forever, or?
No, I think Adam's working on a more cost-effective solution to the issue. Working.
Extending the loop at
It
walking trail.
It involves the traffic and the walking trail being at the same
Place.
location.
Interface.
Yeah, so I believe he's trying to work that so that it's segregated more, but it clearly didn't funding for this account. We decided to put towards when the Board of Selectmen adopted the organic,
Right.
policy, it was identified that this would be the funding for this fiscal year to purchase the additional fertilizer.
And if they really figure out what to do, I mean, they could make it a community type of event also. And I'm sure people would come out to really help do that as long as the plan was solid.
Right,
So-
right.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next is a line item transfer in the Parks Department for tires for the park truck and the parks trailer. I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-22 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Any discussion on this? I'm assuming, Tony, this is the truck that we're going to be getting rid of soon because we're getting a new one? Or
This is for the, this is for the existing truck.
Right, which, the one that's on its way out.
This for the tires?
Yeah, well, we're buying a new truck.
Right. So the tires are for an additional truck. He has more than one truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, this isn't the truck we're getting rid of.
No.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have a line item transfer. It's from revenue to the fire commission for fire marshal expense and for gear replacement. Yes, our new fire marshal is requesting this,
And the software update.
and the software
Right.
application.
So on my side.
I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-23 in the amount of $8,000.
I'll second it.
Anything in particular on this, Tony? Or just, I'm sure he's made a proposal and,
Yeah, and just a couple of highlights on that. The $3,000 is for gear, turnout gear. The $5,000 is for not only the software program, but also the other expenses, uniforms, that sort of thing that we had to get for the new fire marshal.
But there's only one person, right?
Right.
So they need $8,000 worth of.
Well, I'd say probably, I can't recall the exact amount, but there was quite a bit of work that had to be done for the software program that was not being used previously. So a lot of that had to be set up for the fire marshal to begin using, which I believe he
Was
is.
this- The previous fire marshal was not using the software program?
It's my understanding.
And who gave us the estimate of the update costs? I mean, was that done by the consultant, or is this just an estimate
For the
for the software update?
That was the experience. The chief is here to answer some questions. That's the experience that we had with the consultant, the actual costs involved in the
So the
transition.
consultant came and evaluated
Right.
what was needed
Right.
in terms of
And
the
correct,
upgrade?
yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, next we have a line item transfer from the fire marshal line item to fire commission repair and maintenance building. There's a memo attached, which I guess we can ask about. I'm going to move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-24 in the amount of $15,000.
I'll second it.
Okay. What exactly is the repair? There doesn't seem to be much detail.
The budget for the building is I believe it was $19,000. And that pretty much covers all of the contracts that we have with the HVAC contracts, the elevator contracts, the cleaning, that sort of thing.
Oh,
And
the service contract.
Service contracts, right. So to the extent that there are repairs that have to be done to the building, the budget was not sufficient. I could say the couple of the repairs, the larger repairs I'm aware of, was a camera repair was one. There was a repair to a pump. Sean,
Pumps.
what was that for?
The oil pumps.
The oil pumps. And there was also a repair to the one for the floor, for the, wasn't there a repair for the heated floor? There was a repair we had to do
Right,
for
we
that.
had to, what we did is, the last couple of years, we had to pay to have the system, to have somebody come in and keep bleeding the system, and every time we do that, it'd be like $1,200. So we put a pump in where it automatically injects the glycol into the system, into the floor, so we don't have to constantly keep doing that once or twice a year. So I think that the expense was $2,400.
That's right, yeah, that was one.
So we actually save it. We'd see the savings come next year when we don't have to do it once or twice a year. So we went through this process last year, and we went through it again at the beginning of this year, and we decided to put the pump in. But like Tony was saying, the majority of the $19,000, almost all of it, is just our service contracts. That doesn't take in consideration if anything breaks.
We're working to be more efficient on those service contracts.
Right, what we did is, when the building was turned over, we had, Carrier was our, is the equipment manufacturer, and we had some issues with, some vendors and stuff like this, and we decided the vendor bought an extended 5-year, warranty on the units. So what we had to stay, we wanted to stay with the manufacturer of the unit, so it would cover the warranty. So if a third party came in and did work on the units or whatever, if something happened to those units, we couldn't go back to Carrier, because then everybody would be pointing a finger. So it was determined by the building committee at the time to stay with Carrier and also with counsel for through Karen.
Yeah, that's up this year, is that up this year?
That's up this year,
Yeah.
so come June, we're actually getting everything together now. We actually are going out and getting multiple quotes on the unit, service contracts for this year, so we should have those sometime in June.
mean, I think it would be helpful in the future to have a little more detail outlined in terms of the request, so that on record, you can see exactly what you're using the money for.
Yeah, no, definitely, that's,
We can certainly do that.
that's fine, we can do that,
Absolutely.
it's actually broken down, and then, we.
I mean, I recognize
Like,
some
we
of it, but-
requested, and I can tell you right now, we
Uh-huh.
requested, and we're gonna be coming back probably next month, but we requested 33.5 in this year's budget, we requested 30,000 last year, and we got cut down to 19. We requested 33.5, and our numbers that we have are pretty hard numbers, where there's not a lot. The reason why is just based upon the last 3 years, we've always gone over that $19,000 number. And I know we have to change the filters out in the ceilings for the airbags for when the trucks start up. We have to change those out, and those are $3,500, so that's why we increased it to 33.5. We got cut down to 25 this year, so I know we're gonna be struggling to keep it that right now. So
So I-
these
so I think
numbers are pretty,
Okay.
there's really not a lot of movement in these numbers, and that doesn't take into consideration. I think last year, we had an air conditioner that failed in the telecom room, and we were on the verge of burning out some servers and stuff like that, so we needed to get that replaced, and I think that was like a $3,000 expense.
I mean, I think it helps to justify your request, you know, for the next year's budget, to say, here's what we had to do in addition to what we had planned.
Yeah, no,
And so
that's,
if the detail's there, it's
Mhm.
helpful.
yeah, but that 19,000 that's in that, it's mostly for all the service contracts. That doesn't take into consideration if anything
All the
fails or
other-
breaks.
right.
Right, so.
I have just a technical question. I mean,
Sure.
why are we funding the fire marshal requests from something other than the fire marshal line item? And then we're funding these repairs from the fire marshal line item?
The fire marshal requests are from the funds that we received from the former fire marshal.
Oh, I see.
That's,
Now I understand.
that's where this come from.
All right, thank you.
This was just a line we had an additional fund within the
Uh-huh.
budget, and we felt, Sean and I felt it was appropriate
Okay.
because of the nature of the transfers that we looked within their budget to get the funding.
Okay. I was wondering what that revenue number was.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Next is now, is this a request for funding, but it's coming from revenue, Tony?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I should say,
Line item.
line
Should
item
be line item
transfer,
transfer.
yeah.
And this is for $3,800 from replacement miscellaneous revenue to the fire commission training line item because they have 5 new recruits, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's
That's fabulous.
It's a really good thing. We have 5 new guys. They're a firefighter 1 right now, and they're going to be graduating in June. And we actually have 2 more juniors coming in to the actual fire department. So our enrollment is actually going up, which is really a positive thing.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
What will that bring the total to?
We're right around 50. A lot of our older membership, we had a bunch of older membership pass away over the last 2 years, so we actually were getting an influx of 18-year-old kids coming out of our junior program, which is actually a really good thing because we didn't really have that. We were more of a top-heavy department before. Now we're starting at a younger, middle-aged department, which we really want, so they could do the brute work.
Great.
So,
The heavy lifting.
yeah.
Okay, I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-25 in the amount of $3,800.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Next is, of course, something we talked about, and that was Adam had requested a new truck in next year's budget, but we decided to move it up because the truck was in bad shape. So
Right.
this is what we talked about. So I'm going to move acceptance
thanks.
of request for
Thank
funding
you.
1213-26 in the amount of, from our contingency, 27.7 to the Parks Department for a new truck.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this one of those state set?
Correct. Yeah, the State Board of Selectmen at their last meeting approved the state a state bid purchase of a truck.
You'll get this fairly quickly? Because
Yep.
obviously we want it in there for the season. That's what we're
Correct,
doing this.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's waiting for tomorrow so he can order it, right?
Yeah, he'll call me at,
Okay.
We'll do the purchase order tomorrow morning and then we'll order it.
Then all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
actually, he's probably watching right now.
All right. And these, I guess, are the things with the FEMA funds.
Right, and what I did was I separated them out by,
Right.
and, if you need more information, I can get it
So
for
we've
you.
got FEMA funds coming in of 451, 550, is that the total?
Correct. That's the anticipated
These
total.
next three line item transfers are movement of the budgets to offset the money we spent. So the first is line item transfer 1213-27.
It'll probably be a little more than that, but this is what we need to fund our obligations.
Okay. And it's for $140,000, I'll just read these off. And this will reimburse us for overtime for police officers of $115, overtime for dispatchers of $10, and gasoline $15,000. So I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-27 in the amount of $140,000.
Second.
Any discussion?
Tony, is that 15,000 per guess, is that a mileage, based on the mileage, or did we actually spend 15?
That's actuals,
That is.
yeah. It's actual.
Now, these are both storms, Tony, or?
These are, these are both storms
Both storms.
combined.
Okay. Like, all those in favor? Aye. Next is a line item transfer for $260,000 for Public Works overtime, regular, $70,000, rentals of equipment, $140,000, vehicle parts, $5,000, maintenance supplies, $5,000, gas, $30,000, and building maintenance overtime, $10,000.
Goes quickly when you're going 24 hours a day for 2 weeks.
$260,000.
It's just amazing.
So I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-28 in the amount of $260,000.
The big item there is the rentals of equipment was a state contractor that we had to come in and grind and remove all the brush.
Yeah.
Most of that's either that, from Sandy, and that's most of that, and some of that's where most of that's from. Some of it's snow removal too.
I'll second.
Any discussion on this? It's been quite a year. All those in favor? Aye. And finally, line item transfer 1213-29 for $51,550 to the Fire Commission for repair and maintenance of building, $5,000. Technical, $11,350. Gas, $5,200. Oil heating, $18,000. And hydrants, $12,000. Why are these?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't
how
understand
these
this.
relative to-
The oil heating one, part of that is our fault because we transferred out a lot of money to fund the program. And
What does that mean?
So in other words, we're using FEMA funds, not necessarily for.
for that particular item.
Well, how about, why repair and maintenance building?
I'm sorry, that's not the right account, that should be vehicles.
Which one?
The repair and maintenance, the first one.
Oh, vehicles?
Yeah, it's vehicles, not building.
And technical, what's that?
That's for supplies, supplies that were used during the storms.
Storm, okay.
Yeah.
Gas for the vehicles?
Gas for the vehicles. Hydrants was for hydrant repairs,
Okay.
when people would plow over the hydrants, or when, that was during NEMO.
And oil heating?
Some of that's from, the building was used a lot during both storms, particularly during I'd say both storms. That's most of that.
And that'll keep it warmer?
Yeah, and also
A lot of oil.
a lot of oil, and some of that's we transferred out because of the, you can take it from contingency if you want. That's about, I'd say about 8,000 of it, if you want.
I don't, you're losing it.
In other words, they didn't have enough money in their budget to fund it all because we took out money when we did the transfer earlier in the year to fund the equipment upgrades because we thought we were going to be
Oh,
transitioning them
to
to
gas.
natural gas, right?
Okay.
Equipment upgrades.
So then it's a combination of using a lot of oil and
Right.
also that they didn't get hooked up to gas.
Correct.
So they're
Right.
ending up with oil, okay.
All right. That's the combination there.
Okay.
So,
We're still not hooked up to gas.
then they're still not hooked up to gas, yeah. That'll probably be this summer.
I didn't make a motion, did I? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve line item transfer 1213-29 in the amount of $51,550.
Second.
Any other questions or comments? We're all comfortable with this? It's a little,
It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little-
I'm
She's
not
a little
that comfortable
convoluted.
with it.
So you want to make an adjustment? You can.
well, I don't know.
I mean, it should be what it is. I mean, let me ask you, without the FEMA money, what have the stories been?
Contingency.
Without the storms,
Yeah,
we probably wouldn't need any of this except for maybe a little bit of oil heating. Probably about 8,000 or 10,000 of oil heating. So you can certainly take that out and then fund the balance.
I mean, I think this should really reflect what was needed for the
Okay.
storms.
Then you can make that
And-
adjustment.
And then the rest should come from contingency.
Sure,
Well, repair and maintenance vehicle, no doubt is the storm.
correct.
Technical
Supplies, there's a list of supplies I can give them to you.
is
if you're
related to
interested.
the storm.
Right,
Right.
right.
Gas for the
Food,
vehicles.
most of that's food.
Generators
food,
and all that.
Generators,
Yeah.
saws,
It's related
a
to
whole
the
list of
storm.
stuff.
The hydrants were damaged during the storm.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's a question of how much, well, okay.
Gas
This
was,
is 2-week period.
gas was used in the vehicles, you know,
Right.
as they were driving around.
So it's a question of,
It's just oil heating.
yeah, how much oil did they use during,
Yeah, probably, you know, you could, I'd have to figure
So
that out.
we'll-
Take it out altogether, and I'll do it next month.
all right,
How's that?
okay, yeah. All right, then I'm gonna move, we table line item transfer 1213-29.
I'll
Could-
second
you-
that. Or you want to
You
go
could
ahead
lower
with
it to,
everything else? We can lower it and
To
then come back with,
33,550.
Okay, remove the 18.
Right.
Okay.
remove the 18 and
I'll,
come back.
I'll make a motion that we modify line item transfer 1213-29 to $33,550.
Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll,
I'll second it.
Okay.
I'll, next month we'll do a, you know, an accurate.
Uh, We seconded the modification.
Mhm.
Okay, now we have to vote on the line item. All right, I'll make a motion that we approve line item transfer 1213-29 in the modified amount of $33,550.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Put these numbers in over here, whatever I have to.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, approval of minutes. This is from our monthly meeting on March 21st, and I will move acceptance of the minutes of the March 21st, 2013 meeting as presented.
Second.
Any adjustments, corrections, or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Tony, FY14 budget.
Okay. Since our last meeting, there are two adjustments that have come up. The first is to, which I'm sure you're aware of, is the Amity budget, which is a reduction of $66,107. And the second is a reduction to our healthcare budget. We received some final numbers. We were budgeted at 6%, and the increase is at 3.66%. So we've done a lot of work on that, and it paid off. That's a reduction of $40,000. So I'll present this at the hearing, budget hearing. But so that $106,107 reduces the mill rate to 34.14, which is 1.22%. So at least you'll have two adjustments to vote on Monday.
So
Okay.
our tax rate is going to go up by 1.22%.
Right.
And I guarantee you that a large part of that is Amity.
Yeah, it is.
Take away Amity, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic budget. See if I can calculate that by Monday. In other words, if I take Amity out, what the increase would be. I mean, Amity, we got, Amity has been a very reasonable increases the past few years, and then this year we had to catch it up. So,
Yeah.
but with that, a 1.22% increase is remarkable. Okay. First selectman's report, Ed.
Yeah, okay, since our last meeting, as you know, Woodbridge was originally chosen by UI as one of two towns for this microgrid project. which is basically a backup generator system for all the buildings here in the center of town along with Amity. And we survived the initial cut, and so now we're into phase 3 of it, I guess, where it requires the 26 applicants to submit detailed engineering drawings for this microgrid program. To get to the first step, or the second step, Weston and Sampson, which is a engineering firm in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, volunteered to assist us with our application pro bono. So now the Board of Selectmen voted on last Wednesday night, the 10th, to retain Weston and Sampson in an amount not to exceed $55,000, the funds for which will be provided by the state of Connecticut to fund the underwriting of our application. And so they'll be at work at that. The statute provides for that the DEEP can award these microgrid projects to large, medium, and small towns. And my understanding is that there will be an award, at least one award in each one of those categories. There's only one other town in the small town category with us, and that's Wyndham. And their proposal, or the proposal that they're going to be submitting is for just a hospital. It's for much a smaller project than we have. So we feel we have a good chance of this, to get this, and of course, all these costs are going to be underwritten at this point anyways by the state of Connecticut for our engineering costs. So that will be submitted. I think we have about 8 weeks. The RFPs
Right.
come out. We have about 8 weeks to finalize our application, and then be a series of probably 2 months before we hear on that. On March 20th, I participated in Read Across America at the Preacher Road School. On March 21st, our new fire marshal was sworn in, Joseph Capucci, who is a retired fire marshal from New Haven. And he, in attendance, was also the fire chief from New Haven, Ed Grant, and Bill Salentano, who's chairman of the Fire Commission in New Haven. So he came with a lot of support and good recommendations for this position. We met on April 3rd with John Hammer of Malone and McBroom, who is designing the continuation of the sidewalks on Lucy Street and up Litchfield Turnpike by the Mother Church. We're going to have a public information session for those residents who these sidewalks will be in front of, probably sometime in May, I believe, May or June. And hopefully the construction of this will be done this summer. On April 7th, I attended a memorial service for Dr. Robert Gordon at the Lawn Club of New Haven. He died at age 90 or 91. He's a longtime resident of Woodbridge and a neighbor of mine. Also attended the Holocaust Memorial Service at the JCC on April 7th as well. I was at the Chase Bank on Amity Road yesterday for this grand opening, a full-service bank, very nice. And the entrance is in the rear, and you have a great view of West Rock there.
How did they get the variance to build that thing on the road?
Right.
They got it in New Haven, because there's only about this much of it in Woodbridge, so, but I don't know. It's like the old colonial days.
Interesting how that fits into the project about that whole traffic situation down there. They'll probably have to cut a third of the building off and decide how to fix the traffic problem.
So anyway, that's all been done in New Haven, so I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, and then Saturday is Rid Litter Day, and that's for cleanup of all the trash that's around, Woodbridge from the storm and over the winter. And two of our residents, Jill and Bruce Schaefer, are volunteer coordinators of this. And I brought with me, I thought I did, I guess I didn't bring one of those trash bags. We have some out in front if you want to bring one home with you to go down your street and put all the trash in that bag, and the Public Works will be going around all the streets on Monday to pick up the bags.
Do we need to call them and let them know their bag's there, or they're just gonna?
To call them, let them know to come to pick it up?
Uh-huh.
No, they'll be around. I think they'll be going through every street. yeah.
Okay.
The bags are, brightly colored, so that.
Okay.
And next Saturday, a week from Saturday, is opening day for the Babe Ruth or Bethwood Baseball League, Baseball and Softball League, 10 o'clock at the Green. We did receive a check from the Bethwood Baseball and Softball League in the amount of $3,000 to be applied for the overtime and extra costs that are associated with the tournaments.
Oh, good.
And as well as to purchase some clay. And then finally, there is, and Matt probably knows this, there is a retirement dinner for Dr. Brady on Thursday, June 13, 2013, at the Waterview on Roosevelt Drive in Monroe, from 4 to 7 p.m. So any of you who are interested, want an invitation, can contact me or Matt. And that's my report.
Liaison reports, I was unable to attend the AMD meeting on April 8th. I was kind of busy, so fortunately I missed it a long time, but there was nothing major that went on, so I was fairly comfortable missing it. But I also mentioned, we all have in front of us, this is a liaison report, but there's groundbreaking for the Public Works Garage on Tuesday, April 30th at 1 o'clock, right behind us, and I'm going to do my very best to be there, because I can't think of a group of people who deserve this more than the Public Works people. These past couple of years have certainly shown us how valuable they are to this town and what a great job they do. I've been listening to talks about a Public Works Garage since I first came on the Board of Finance in 1987. So it's 26 years and we're finally getting it. They say here something about 8 years. Well, it was in the 1987 bond issue to build a Public Works Garage. And here it is, 2013, we're finally getting it. So I'm going to do my best to be there. I think these people really deserve this facility, and to all be in the same building and to have vehicles inside. So it's a very exciting project for me. I think it's a very worthwhile project for the town. So I'm going to do my best to be there. Andy,
Our meeting was canceled,
the meeting was canceled.
so
Dave?
very brief report.
Meeting was no quorum, so it was postponed for a week, and then I couldn't make the one week.
Okay. Excuse me, Sandy.
Okay, the Library Commission met on Monday, April 8th, and I would say that a large part of the discussion was about the difficulty that the Friends of the Library are having in terms of getting additional volunteers. There's certain terms for their officers, and they really do not have people to volunteer either to be on the board for the Friends of the Library, or to volunteer to do the work that they do. And the issue is that they raise about $20,000 a year for the library. And they've tried all different avenues in terms of, putting public service announcements in the newspapers, people talking to other people, and they're really not sure what's going to happen. So this is a critical juncture for them in terms of how will the Friends continue. Now, the person who runs the bookstore, Barbara Reeder, is willing to, continue to do that, but that's not where the main source of funds comes from. So we brainstormed a little bit about what else can we do, and hopefully a smaller group of us will get together and see what we can do to keep this going forward. I don't know if anyone has any suggestions about how to get others interested.
They keep records as to who are make the most use of the library in terms of taking out books.
People, you mean?
Yeah, and so wouldn't that be a natural source of
That's a good
source
idea.
of people
That's
who
a
use
good
the
idea.
library a lot, who would want to
Mhm.
volunteer?
Part of the problem is, and we told them they need to change the time of their meetings. It can't be during the day. I mean, there's so many people who work at this point. And if really what they want to do is just maintain the bookstore and their fundraising effort, and they did do other things. I mean, they did get authors to come and speak.
Mhm. They have a great program.
And, yeah, so they have a really nice program. But that's a good idea. Maybe Todd can put something like that together. It's disappointing because it has been a very important group to the library and to the town. But I think it speaks to people finding the time to do other things outside of their family and work.
Well, there are different times. I mean, there are a lot of people that their lives have changed somewhat in the last
Right.
5 or 6 years.
Right,
So
exactly.
they're doing different things.
They also are getting a new display case. It's basically a flat case that you see in a lot of libraries where you can actually open books and things. The Garden Club is helping with half the purchase, and they'll have the first display in there But after that point in time, it will be Todd who decides what kind of displays are in there, and it will be in the front as you enter the library. The last item was really talking about using email addresses for the newsletter instead of producing paper newsletters. And so I'd like to bring this up again as an issue of how can the town start to collect email addresses of residents? Is this something that we could do on election day? I mean, people don't have to give their email address, but if they do, then they have the option maybe to sign up for certain groups that they want to maintain contact with about events that they're having. Is that something that could be considered?
On election day, we'd have to talk to the registrars and all that, but why wouldn't they just solicit email addresses from all the patrons and who use the library?
They would do that, but this
Yeah.
is an effort to kind of even get to people who don't necessarily use the library, because they have lots of events there. It's really amazing what they're able to do. And it's
What-
speakers, it's films, and those people aren't necessarily library patrons.
One of the things, just thinking out loud, is when we send the tax bill out, we could put a notice that you want us to give us your email address.
Sure, that's another
That way
way.
you get to a lot of people.
Okay,
Oh my God.
that would be great. Okay. Later that evening was the Woodbridge Finance Committee meeting for the Board of Education for Beecher. And the first item was the individuals who formed the bus service consortium gave a proposal to the board, to the Finance Committee, to extend their contract. And they did some comparisons to other towns, the fact that we really do gain a lot by working with the JCC, B'nai Jacob, local churches, in terms of, in Amity, the school system itself, in terms of coordinating buses. So there was a favorable response from the committee that will go to the full board for their approval in terms of extending the current contract. Then we went over the source of the surplus. As Matt mentioned, there was $76,000 in there. $60,000 is due to their savings related to heating because they have converted to gas. And $16,000 relates to medical insurance savings. So that's the remainder that they expect they will end up with at the end of the year. As you know, they basically are coming in with a 0% budget. They would like to be able to use the remainder of these funds to finish off their entire cafeteria project. The acoustics, they already funded some of that through remaining dollars that were agreed to by the board. So again, I think they will share, what their plans are. But they had a tier 1 group of projects that included surveillance cameras, two-way radios, the telephone PA system, cafeteria tables, and math books. So that actually has already been funded. And then they would like to do the rest of the acoustical tiles related to the cafeteria. And that's basically it.
Okay. Anything else? Hopefully we'll see everybody there Monday night.
Absolutely.
Always an interesting meeting in an election year.
Yeah.
With that, I'll move that we adjourn the meeting of the Board of Finance.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
All right.
Thank you.